Okay, so I'll try to take some video of these. This is an Arthur Adams Linda medley sketch from 1988. This is when Arthur and Linda were dating. Linda did an amazing job on the coloring on this. You got 5 o'clock shadow on Wolvie. It's just a great vintage depiction of the character by one of the all-time greatest delineators of the character. I love, Arthur's depictions of Wolverine. Real happy to have picked that up and add it to my collection. The framing was done by Steve Wyatt, as was the majority of the framing of all the pieces I'm going to show you. He always does a wonderful job, and I'm real happy to have found him and have him contribute to how great my collection looks displayed. This is one of the few pieces he didn't frame for me. It's one I picked up prior to him taking over those duties for me back in 2010. This is the Terry Moore Strangers in Paradise piece with Francine waking up very forlorn and upset for having broken up with Kachu. She reacts like Kachu would and smashes her alarm clock, and it definitely makes her feel a lot better. So, and I just luscious inks on her hair on this. Just wonderful piece. Another piece by Arthur Adams. This, to my mind and to my eye, is the greatest depiction of Colossus by any artist ever. Drew Cheskin received this as a commission in 2003, and I left a plethora of comments on it over the next decade. And when he finally decided to part with it, he branched out. He reached out to me and let me purchase it from him, and I'm just very, very happy to have this. I absolutely adore it, and like I said, I feel like it's the best depiction of the character by any artist ever. Originally saw this as a print on eBay. It's obviously inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. It's Brooks after Casada. Casada did a very similar cover. So it's Mark Brooks. It's got the mirror writing like in Latin, like Da Vinci did, and you can read the translation to that on my calf gallery. The matting was just done wonderfully by Steve, and real happy with how the whole piece looks and turned out. Picked this up, this Bill Sienkiewicz Thor piece at San Diego Comic-Con 2016. I think he moved recently, and he just must have found it in the move, because I mean it's so old. It's from 1982, if I remember correctly. Oh, 83. January 7th, 83 is what it says. So it's quite vintage, and I was just real happy to add it. It's from an unpublished Jim Shooter, Bill Sienkiewicz Thor project. They were going to do a graphic novel, and it just never came to fruition. To me, this makes for a great back cover. I don't know if that was the original intention, but that's what I imagine it is. This was the first comic I ever read. I felt like I should commemorate my addiction to comics and comic art, and so I got a 9.8 version. The original that I had I still have it, but it's not 9.8. I didn't quite take as great care as I did later in my collection to that very first book. But I do have this up there to commemorate my start of my collecting. This was my Gabriel Dell'Otto Ghost Rider painting. Really love this. I don't know if the framing, the gold and that, and then brings out the flames, really shows up. But again, Steve just does a great job on framing. This is from a French artist. I'm gonna probably mutilate her name, Leila Wattaz, Leilawattaz. I just received this the other day. Got it up on the wall today. I just think it's a really interesting, lovely piece. This is a printer's proof. It's not original. It's a fold-out poster from Amazing Spider-Man, or not Amazing, Spectacular Spider-Man 189, Charles Vess. Joe Lee owns the original, and the artwork comes a little lower, and you can see cats dancing across the rooftops. After my first issue of Web of, I bought Amazing Spider-Man 277 thinking it was the follow-up to this story, not reading the title clearly enough. And that happened to be a Charles Vess story. And gave me a real soft spot for all depictions of the character by Charles Vess. I'd really like to add a nice example, and this was my dream vest. So at least if I can't own the original, I have a really nice printer's proof that doesn't have folds in it that I have on display. This is my grail, my Wrightson wraparound Amazing Spider-Man hooky cover. I picked this up in 2010. This week actually is the 7th anniversary of having acquired this, and my local comic book shop didn't have a copy. I hadn't special ordered it, and I had mistakenly thought because I had Amazing Spider-Man in my hold box, and this was, quote, an Amazing Spider-Man book, that I would receive it, and that wasn't the case. And when I found that out, I was kind of bummed, and my mom pulled my brother and I out of school the following day, drove us 2 hours round trip to a comic book shop that was 4 times the size of my local one, and I picked this up, picked up Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, and just had an all-around amazing time. So it's great to have this piece that commemorates that little bit of wonderful childhood memory that I hold. This is a great faux Wolverine piece. Poster art by Alex Ross. Danny DeVito is Wolverine. Just brings a smile to my face. I loved Hugh Jackman's latest depiction of Wolverine and Logan. I mean, that was a really great rendition finally, but I always was kind of disappointed we didn't have a short, stocky Wolverine. And this is a 229. This was actually a variant cover to 229. Chris Giarrusso did a homage to Rob Guillory's Chew 1, and Rob hasn't sold his Chew 1, and at least at this point doesn't intend to. So I was happy to acquire Rob's version of it. This is a Tom Taggart original sculptural clock. I'm real happy to have this as well. He was one of the sculptors that first inspired me to try my hand at it, and I'm happy to have a piece by him in my collection and on display. The gargantuan print down here, this is a vinyl print of Arthur Adams' 8 covers that interlock to create this poster for Original Sin. The one here is my absolute favorite Strangers in Paradise cover. It is, of course, Terry Moore's Strangers in Paradise. I love the Art Nouveau take on it. I also own the prelim that he used, and he tells a story of how he created this at a store signing that no one showed up to. He was there for the whole day, and it was just a ghost town, and it was really crushing to his ego and just kind of a sad situation altogether, but he sure created some amazing art out of that. I also have this Preacher piece by Steve Dillon. I absolutely love this piece, but I went ahead and sold it last year trying to acquire Spider-Man vs. Wolverine piece. This cover, I love that Spider-Man vs. Wolverine. I chased it on Heritage. It sold at like $35,000, and I just never reached that kind of I only raised like 19 grand. So I was kind of bummed having parted with this and not got what I actually wanted for it. And luckily, a month after the auction ended, the person who I had sold this to contacted me and was willing to sell it back to me because they were doing some home renovations. The catch being they wanted $500 more than I had sold it to them for, but I was willing to do that considering my love for the piece, and it's just a great example from one of my all-time favorite series. Okay, so this is another piece from Spider-Man Hooky. This I picked up in 2008. A wonderful splash page with 7 depictions of Spider-Man. And of course, I mean, at the time, I was just amazed that and happy that I was able to finally acquire a dream piece from my favorite book of all time. And it was right after the crash in 2008. It was on Heritage and nobody else bid, so I never dreamed at the time that I could actually beat that and get the cover. So pretty amazing. This was one of the first pieces I picked up in my collecting days. This is a Fastener and Larson pencil prelim to Beware the Danger Room. They're part of their early 80s print set. Funny story about the prints. I bought this print framed off the wall of my local comic book shop from one of the employees, and he got in trouble for having sold it to me the next, when the owner finally came in, because I guess it was from the owner's private collection. And I offered it back to the owner, but they, grumbled and said, that wasn't necessary, but they were not happy about having sold it, having it been sold to me. So funny. Okay, so I also picked up a couple statues recently. I always like these little versions of Spidey, the big head and whatnot, and a sucker for the ones with anytime he's depicted with his camera. And this was something I sculpted. It's a Zippo lighter, Ghost Rider head. And hiding way back here is my Craven's Last Hunt page, and you got the rat, and you got the raccoon. Here lies Spider-Man slain by the hunter. Great Mike Zeke, Bob McLeod inking on it. Real happy to have an example from this, and seeing the way the light's coming through here, I think I need to black out these windows as well. The windows over there are blacked out, but the ones behind these bookshelves haven't been done yet. Sculpture I haven't finished, been working on it forever. Monster Clay, Strangers from Paradise. Francine and Kachu, based on a sketch that he did in my sketchbook. My buddy and Aaron and I, back from in high school. Let's see, get back here. So, my bed. Over the bed, we've got the Chew 15 trifold cover, which is, of course, another Da Vinci homage. This one to The Last Supper. And I rate this as the best Rob Gilroy Chew art out there. I just feel like it has everything you would want, could possibly want from that series. I'm real happy and feel lucky to have acquired it. Some more Strangers in Paradise art. To read all of the great dialogue, definitely go to my calf page. And to get a better look at all of the paraphernalia next to the bed. It's a real funny page. And love that. And my first SIP art. This is actually the first piece of art that I ever bought from an artist. This was the first from the first SDCC I ever attended. This is Kachu getting her art out of the storage, and after the breakup with Francine, and realizing that she hasn't had a totally bad day and that there is life after Francine. So that is everything I have displayed here. Oh wait. So yeah, like I said before, Spider-Man Wolverine was one of my all-time favorites, and I tried chased this cover on Heritage, but it sold at 35 grand, which I just couldn't raise enough for it. But I do have a few nice pages from it. I got Ned Leeds. The glare on this is real bad. Ned Leeds talking to JJ, John Jameson, you know, about all his leads that lead them to Germany, and Spider-Man, you know, I've had it. Spider-Man is finished. He's quitting like he does periodically. Page with Wolvie telling him, you know, hey, you're out in over your head, go home. He comes back to the hotel, finds Ned Leeds dead, which, you know, Ned Leeds was the Hobgoblin. This is my favorite page from the series. Real happy to have added this after I missed out on the cover. And, you know, he's just, Spider-Man's just wailing on him, trying to get him to convince him to lie down. He starts to get the message. I'm hitting him hard enough to wreck cars. You know, an ordinary man would be Wonder Jello. And I mean, this line, I just love this line. I can't get him to stop smiling. I just think that, you know, really tells you about Wolverine, everything you need to know. And this was actually my first introduction to Wolverine. It was my first Wolverine story. And then I just picked this one up on eBay recently. It's from Web of Spider-Man 29, which was a sequel of sorts to the Spider-Man vs. Wolverine story. And he talks about what happened in Germany and having killed Wolverine's lady friend and all that jazz. So it was only $200, so I had to jump on it at that price. And then obviously I have a lot more in my collection, and I have room to display in this single room, but some of which is the cover to the 30th anniversary Aliens, and it was also used for the original poster art. I have this over at my mother's. My stepdad's a big Alien fan, so I let him keep it in his computer room. And then my mom is more or less claimed my Burn Kitty Pride conceptual artwork is also over there. She has a warm spot in her heart for that piece. So again, this is my little artistic haven. Got everything here. So I hope you enjoyed.